Hi, everybody. Welcome to my podcast, Bridging the Gap, Real Estate for Women. As a woman in real estate, I know firsthand how underrepresented women are in connection with this asset class. And I would like to change this. Let's propel forward. So here with me today is Dr. Vikram Raya. Vic has a great background story because he started out as a cardiologist. He still is. I think once you're a cardiologist, you're always a cardiologist, right? But now he is the founder of Limitless Capital. He's also a real estate mentor and coach. So I'm really excited to have Vic here today because I think we really need to really explore the ways that Vic is helping people, and really how that started was by making a big change for himself. So Vic, welcome to my show. How are you today?
Hi, Atara. Thanks for having me.
I'm really happy, like I said, to have you. I know you also started, your background was in cardiology. You were also into integrative and functional medicine. Is that correct?
Yeah, I started my career as a cardiologist, as a doctor. Just wanted to help people. I had family members who had heart attacks, and so practiced for about 8 to 10 years as a cardiologist, and then had an interest in trying to go beyond that. I wanted to figure out, like, is there a better way to maybe tackle heart disease and really help go upstream, if you will. And I got trained in something called functional integrated medicine, which is essentially treating the root cause of the disease versus just the symptoms. And but before I made that risk to go and do my own practice, cash-based concierge kind of practice, I was like,
Right.
I need to figure out another stream of income. And so I thought about options, and it didn't work out so well. Then I was like, all right, let me try real estate. And then I did single family, started a company called Dare Investments, took that up to about 30 single family homes. And then I was like, all right, how do I take it to the next level? And so I wanted to scale. And I know entrepreneurs, if they really want to be a true entrepreneur, you have to learn how to scale your business. And so
Yes.
I I decided to form Viking Capital, my real estate investment company. And so now,
Okay.
we took that to a certain level. But um, during the pandemic, I was put at a different crossroads. People started reaching out to me like, yeah, I'm a doctor, but my job's not safe. My surgical center got shut down. All these things started happening. So people asked me to be on their podcast, and I started speaking a little bit more and sharing my story. Seemed to resonate with the physician sort of tribe, if you will. And then one thing led to another, and then people started asking me to coach and mentor them. I'm like, I don't really do that. I'm trying to focus on my job.
I'm trying to make money as an entrepreneur in real
Yeah,
estate. Right.
entrepreneur. I'm trying to be a physician, and I have a family. I have two kids, 9 and 11, and my wife as well. So I was pretty busy, but then they really were like insistent, and so I formed a third company called Limitless MD, where I help physicians really master success in business and life. And it's just been an amazing journey to have all these opportunities to work with so many people from so many walks of life. And so now I'm really in a cool position. And Viking just got nominated to be Inc. 5,000 fastest growing companies, and so really
Wow.
pleased and happy with the progress. And it's really about, like, just getting folks just like your podcast listeners to say, hey, look, they're playing here, but their capabilities are way up here. So
Right.
it's time for people to just explode their potential, and let's go.
So it's really interesting, right? Because as you know, you're a doctor, I'm a lawyer, as you know, professionals, sometimes we think like we have to use our education for what we originally intended to use it for, right? And so veering off that track of saying like, okay, I know I went to medical school or law school, or I know I became an accountant, or I have an MBA, but now I'm going to kind of shift thinking and use some of those skills, but then maybe acquire new skills to become an entrepreneur. That's like a leap that not everybody is able or willing to take, right? So it's kind of a different mindset already, right? To become that person who says, I want to make that transition. Would you say that it's a certain type of person, or are you really speaking to everybody?
I really think sometimes our jobs can be our jailers versus counselors, and stop using your job as your identity. You're
Okay.
you're you're Atara, I'm Vikram, you know, someone else is their name, and they're a mom, they are a entrepreneur, they are an investor, they're
Right.
a spouse, they are adventurer, maybe they climb mountains, they do so many different things. So you're not just a lawyer. Lawyer is what you do in this phase of your life, and it's a skill set you've acquired, but it shouldn't restrict you. And what I've done is one of the identities I loved is more of an all-encompassing identity, is this concept of the Renaissance man. And I'm a big fan of Leonardo da Vinci. We just came back from Italy, my whole family, for a month. We were out there, and so I was listening to Walter Isaacson's, biography of Leonardo while I was in like Florence and like checking his things.
Right.
And so it really resonated with me. I'm like, that's what I want to be. So it's like, how do I do that? And I was like, all right, well, learn things I'm passionate about, get good at them, get the best mentorship and guidance, and then don't be a dabbler, be a master, and then help others along the way. And so I think your listeners, if they let go of that one thing they were told they are and just embrace a lot of the things, but that doesn't mean also, and there's a dark side to that. There's a superpower, if you will, but there's the dark side to the superpower. The dark side is if you go superficial with multiple things, you're not going to be fulfilled and you're not going to get traction. You're not going to get success. So there's sort of a balance.
Right. Well, it's interesting that you talk about Europe and, traveling now and wanting to be a Renaissance man. Because I think like saying what you do as the very first way of introduction is almost exclusive to the US. If you travel the world, people don't say, hi, my name is Atara. What's your name and what do you do? Right. But that is like very normal here in the US, and it really isn't normal elsewhere. And I think that is because in a lot of other countries, it is really more about what you are that defines you and the things that interest you, rather than just what is my job. So I think that that's interesting. And I think that, we're being taught here in the US, and I think the pandemic really helped teach us that maybe I don't want to be that person who is just defined by my job. And I think a lot of people are saying, yeah, well, what do I really want to do that I feel passionate about? And I think that is where entrepreneurship becomes so interesting to a subset of people, because what else can they really do other than their job? Well, being an entrepreneur, while there is a lot of work involved, it also frees you up, because once you're on that track, your time is really more your own. And that's very freeing, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm sort of talking to my young nieces and nephews who are applying to colleges. And they're like, hey, what do I end up, what do I want to do with my life? And I was reading this concept of sort of this intersection of three thoughts. So if you get this trilogy right, you can probably figure out the right job and role for you in life. And one is your passions intersect with your skill sets, intersect with the trends of the time. So, whatever, if you can figure out something that you're really good at, but if you're really good at it and you're interested in it, what happens is you're willing to outwork most people. And for you, it doesn't feel like work. Like,
Right.
I'm not interested in crypto. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. I know a lot of people do. And what happens is if I'm competing with a person and we're both trying to start a crypto fund or trying to create crypto investments or do something, they're going to win because, I'll do the bare minimum to move forward, but they're going to outwork me and out hustle me because they're interested in it. But the tables are turned if they're going to talk about real estate or multifamily, because that's what I do. So, and in this time and age, both are actually trending in terms of it's a trend. There's a huge interest right now in alternative investments like real estate. That's what you and I both share an interest in. Same thing with crypto. So but like, let's say we were talking about, I don't know, nuclear energy may not be the most trending thing right now. So if you could find that that intersection of three things, that Venn diagram, right, you're in the sweet spot of trending, interest, and skill set.
I love that. So, okay, but here you are, a doctor, right? What makes you think like, okay, now I can become like a multifamily property owner, and I could like build this empire? Like, what made you feel like I could do this? Was there someone in your family that you were modeling, or like, how did it come to you?
Yeah. even though my mom and dad always wanted me to be a doctor, it was interesting that my dad always had this sort of entrepreneurial drive, and he always knew that he was sort of scared because he couldn't always go all out because he had to take care of my kids. I mean, his kids, me and my
Right,
brother, and my mom, and so he had to always make sure that he couldn't take too much of a risk because he didn't want to. He was a first generation immigrant coming here,
right,
and but he instilled in me that like working for someone long term is not the right way to go. You want to be, you want to have a hunger, you want to have a killer instinct, he used to say. And so that was one of the inspirations, I would say, early on. The other inspiration really was, as I was practicing, um so in my third year of cardiology practice, people were still asking me, hey, okay, here's your 3 weeks of vacation for the year, when do you want to take it, so we can give you permission. I was like, dude, I'm a grown man, I don't want permission to
right,
take like a vacation. And then I just felt like there's so many handcuffs, and then there's the nickname is the golden handcuffs for like these high. So the people I coach and work with, and the people who start investing with me and my companies, they're what I call these high income, low net worth folks. And it's an interesting
I love
subset of
that.
folks. There's a lot of people out there that are high income, low net worth. So they can live a luxurious lifestyle, but they're one or two paychecks away from it all crashing down. And
Right,
they still have a scarcity mindset. They don't feel comfortable, even though, they drive a Mercedes Benz, they have a nice home, and they, vacation in the Hamptons. But there's an angst with these folks because they don't have true wealth. And so my
right,
goal is to help these people, because first of all, no one's going to cry for them. No one's going to feel sorry for them. But these are the
right,
people that, if they wanted to, they can potentially blow it up, create generational impact, you know, write $50,000 checks to charity, take care of their kids, their grandkids, their great kids, grandkids, and like do something meaningful that have both income and impact.
right. So what do you say now to a lot of those people who might say, now's not a great time, but come on, look what's going on with interest rates, what's going on with inflation,
Yeah.
like this isn't the best time. What do you say to those folks?
So they're thinking like the 95% or the 98%, and I'm thinking like the 1 to 2%, where like I'm like, yes, I was waiting for this. I'm like backing the truck up right now. I just came back from Atlanta. I had 6 broker meetings. I have probably 7 off-market deals. People are failing to deliver on their promises in terms of like a buyer and a seller. So
Right,
deals are
right.
falling out of contract, and they're like, Vic, oh man, we need to close this. Do you mind coming in and stepping in? I'm like, please, yeah,
This is
absolutely.
music to your ears.
Yes. So I'm gonna get deals for probably another 90 days to 6 months, and after that, the deals are gone. And then we go back to the. I mean, I'll still find good deals, but this is the time. Like, there was a 3 month period right when the pandemic hit that people had some crazy deals. There's probably
Right,
another 2 to 3 months here that's gonna happen. So people like myself, like Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, people are looking for opportunities when there's there's a joke like when people are greedy, be fearful, and people are fearful, be greedy. This is that time to go in and seize these opportunities.
okay. So I agree with you. And my show is really to empower women who are professional women. I'm not suggesting that every woman take that MBA or that MD or that law degree and throw it away. I'm really suggesting that they take that disposable income that they're making from being a professional woman and really understand the asset class of real estate. So how do you tell women who are just interested in finding out, like, I want a great deal to invest in, like, how do they go about that intelligently? Because research actually says that, when women invest in real estate, they really want to understand it. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm glad to have you on because I would love you to explain to our female listeners, how do I find a great deal?
Yeah. We have a tremendous amount of females in our investor base, in Viking Capital. And, whether the male or female, the most successful people first make a declaration. They get clarity. What do I want? If I'm a powerful, you know, professional woman, then I'm trying to figure out, where am I in my career? Am I single and I'm successful and I'm like, all right, I'm just looking to grow, or am I, married? Perhaps I have children, and then I'm thinking to, create a nest egg, or maybe I'm retired and I'm a woman. I'm like, all right, well, I'm looking to replace my income because I'm looking to enjoy my life and have lifestyle design. So it depends on their stages, but I would say number one is get absolute clarity. Once you have clarity, then it's like, all right, what's your why? You know, and you may want to invest in things you're philosophically aligned with. If you're a person who's really into ESG, environmental sustainability growth, perhaps you're not going to invest in a oil and gas syndication, even though the
Right.
returns are pretty powerful, right? So
Right.
you want to get philosophically aligned, get that clarity, and then figure out what do I have to play with. So if you're making 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, 500,000, $1 million a year, what is your investable amount per year? And then I would say you're already probably going to be covered in the sense that you have a traditional advisor who's probably going to put you in the typical stocks, mutual
Right.
funds, bonds, and stuff.
Right.
But if you're looking for alternative assets, I really think real estate should be part of your portfolio. And the reason why I say that is it's been around for 5,000 years. It's not going anywhere, and it's getting
Right.
more scarce over time. So I prefer to invest in things I understand. I understand multifamily. I also know that it's one of the most safest asset classes. It's conservative, but the returns are quite good. I mean, you can get between 1.5 to 3x multiple on your money.
Right.
Capital preservation is number one. So if you're really concerned to be really conservative, then that's important for you. Number two is I want cash flow. I want things that come. I want money in my mailbox. And number three, I want a big pop when I sell it. And number four, if I'm a high income professional, like a lot of the people on your show, Atara, and they're women, then they need something to be more tax efficient. Because if they're paying high taxes, that's not
Right.
good. So if perhaps they're getting money as a K1, then this will be a huge tool for them. Or even if they're getting a really high income W2, then guess what? All the money they're getting from the real estate income can be offset by the tax passive losses that we're going to show for them, which are just paper losses, but they're really getting, income. So this is why, for example, multifamily syndications make a lot of sense. And I would say, and then finding sponsors. So you want to vet people. Hey, have they been in business before? How long have they been in business? How many deals
Right.
have they done? What happens when, and you ask them the worst case scenario. What's your worst case scenario? What's your best case scenario?
Right.
What happens? Have you ever not paid a distribution? Have you ever lost an investor dollar? And once I get all that and I feel comfortable, then I would put a test investment. Maybe it's 25, maybe it's 50, maybe it's 100K. And I would
Right.
work with them. And if I'm comfortable after about a 6 months to a year, and I like the investor communication, there's good transparency, and I understand what they're doing, and they're explaining to me, and there's good reporting, then I'll up the ante, and perhaps I'll choose maybe two other folks, and I would have like at least 2 to 3 people I trust, and I'd rotate my money with those folks.
I think that's great advice. I'd like to add to that because I think that women and men, but a lot of times women have a very good gut instinct. And I think we're taught in business to sometimes ignore that the numbers just have to work. And I'm all about the numbers, and so are you, right? Because deals have to make sense on an analytical model. We get that. But I think also, as far as who to invest with, you have to have a good guttural feeling like this is a person that I trust and that I like. Would you agree?
Yes. I've invested in like not only my deals in syndication, but I think like these 30 other deals all over the country. And in those things, it's really like, do I know, like, and trust that person? And
Right.
I believe my brain, but my heart and my gut also align too. So when you
Yes.
have all things in alignment, that's a go for me.
You're good. You're good. Well, it's interesting because you said you segued from cardiology into functional medicine, and right. And I think that understanding functional medicine is really understanding how the whole body works. And I think that that's true of your gut and true of real estate deals. It's understanding that there's more to the deal than just the numbers. The numbers have to work, but it's also about like, what's the vibe of the place where you're investing in, right? And that's kind of similar to like functional medicine in the sense like what is going on in the body, what's going on in the neighborhood that you're investing in. So I think there's an interesting synergy there. So are you still practicing at all as an MD?
So I don't have my physical clinic anymore, but I have so many requests from people all over the country who are interested in like reversing, some gut issues or health, or they want more energy.
Right.
And so I advise and consult with a lot of executives, doctors, high income professionals all over the country. And on top of that, I have like 2 programs where, I don't really advertise this, but I help people go through a complete sort of reset if you will, and it's called Vitology Institute. And so
Wow.
I do that as well. But really, what I found is like I there's usually one goal or one ambition or one thing that if you do this, it will unlock the doors for everything else. And so I really believe that. I think if I once we take Viking to that next level, I think I can hire a whole C-suite team that can continue to run Viking while I can pursue all my other passions and interests.
Ah, that's interesting. Well, we have a lot more to talk about. We'll do that on another show because I love like the whole idea of eating healthy and how like what you put into your body really affects everything around you. I always like kid around, like I've been giving my kids like brown food forever,
Yeah.
brown rice, whole wheat, like they don't know
Yeah.
anything else. And I think
Let,
that's so important to the
let me
rest of who
let me
we
serve
are.
your listeners right now and just tell them some strategy. Like, I don't care if they're super healthy and fit or they're looking for that midsummer reset, but there's a strategy that I've investigated, that I've done myself, and I've put a lot of friends and family and patients on it. It's called the Prolon 5-day reset program. And what it is essentially, it's we know fasting is really healthy for our body, but it's very difficult to do. So most people can't
Yes.
do it. So there's something called a fasting mimicking diet, where essentially you trick your body to go into a fasting state, but you're still eating food. And
Yes.
so it's 5 days, and it's literally, you cannot mess it up because all the food comes in like this box. And
Right.
it reminds me of Apple, the company Apple Computers created a health and food plan. It would look like this. And so it's like really trendy, very cool, very simple to use. And it's like
Right.
day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, all the food's there. It's all prepared by Italian chefs. It's all vegetarian. And if you go through this, essentially most women on average lose about between 5 to 8 pounds that week. They shrink their
Wow.
stomach size, they increase their stem cells, they decrease inflammation, their sugars, and their cholesterol.
Right.
And their skin
I
starts
think
glowing too.
and I no, well, I think what you said is really true. It's like we know how we're supposed to eat, right? But it's just sometimes too hard to do. So this is a really nice idea. Tell me what it's called again.
It's called Prolon, Prolon.
Yeah. Okay, great. I think it's fantastic. I like I said, whatever you put into your body, I believe comes out. It comes out on your skin, on your face, everywhere. And I think it comes out in your attitude toward life. So I think like everything is synergetic. You have to have a healthy mindset in order to be successful and to be happy. So I think it all starts there. And I think as women, we like to integrate. And I think this is a great way to integrate positivity in our life. And thereby you will then be successful. So let's end with that, but we definitely have a lot more to talk about because I think you're really super interesting on a lot of different levels. Tell my listeners, where can they find you if they would like to get a hold of you?
Sure. It's my website, vikingmultifamily.com, if they want to get a hold of our company, Viking Capital. And if they want to learn more about, anything or potentially consulting or anything like that, it's vikramraya.com, VIKRAMRAYA.com. And as a special bonus to your listeners, we have a free course that we offer on our Viking multifamily website. It's
Right.
a 7-day passive income course where they can just learn everything about real estate and syndications and investing. And it's just a good educational tool for them. So they can get that on our website.
Oh, wow. Thanks so much, Vic. Well, thanks for coming on. It's always a pleasure to chat with you. I appreciate it. And thanks for all that you're doing, for everyone out there.
And
Good luck.
yeah,
Keep
thank
doing
you.
it.
Yeah, thanks for empowering women, because I really think that if you awaken the female professional woman to invest, I think it's gonna provide a lot of benevolence and positivity to the investing world, and we need it.
Oh, wow. Thanks. That's amazing. I appreciate you saying that. All right. Take care. Bye for now.